So I was also trying, I was just testing God because I wasn't that sure that he will do it, because that was the first thing that I was encountering in my life. So I remember I knelt down, lifted my hands, and I started praying. I prayed for 11 minutes. Nothing was coming. The body, lifeless body, was just lying there.
How did you gather courage to pray when your brother is dead?
Okay, because you see, I knew that it was assurance from him. Because for God to tell me to go back home, I knew there was something amiss, and there was something that I had to do. Yeah, I had to do. So I went back home. I knew that if he is the same God that told me to do so, to cut off my fast, so I decided to obey. So I just spoke a word. I said, receive the breath of God. And immediately he coughed.
Wow.
And when he woke up, after sometimes he asked for food. And that is exactly what happened even in the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah, he asked for something to eat.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.
This is your home of fresh and classic. You're listening to The Reset. It is Testimony Thursday. Got an amazing guest who will be narrating his story tonight. He's really live in studio. Allow me to introduce none other than a Prophet Tony Gist. Yes, man of God, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
Yes, karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you.
Karibu sana to The Reset, and karibu sana to Pearl Radio.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I know this is not. This is not your first time in on a radio station.
Yeah, it's not my first time.
Yeah, I remember we met somewhere in this media in HB TV, and it was awesome to hang out with you and say, hey man, you have a story, and I want you to come and share your story with us tonight.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, karibu sana. Maybe for that person who doesn't know you, maybe you can just introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Tony Gist. That is my artistic name, definitely. I've been serving the Lord, for many years now, and it's just a blessing to be here. And I believe that you're gonna be able to hear more about my story. Yes,
amazing. Tony Gist.
Tony Gist.
Why do you call yourself Tony Gist? Is it the name that if I send you an M-Pesa tutapata?
Okay, my real name's Antonio Kello. The reason why I came up with Tony Gist, there was a time I went for an event somewhere, and I realized that we were sharing names. Yeah, there was another artist, but the same names, two names, Antonio Kello, and I was like, I need to be different,
Yes.
So that's why I came up with Tony Gist. Yeah,
Tony Gist. I love that name.
Yes.
I love that name.
Thank you.
And you are a prophet.
Yeah.
Talk to us about it. Are you? How did you get into prophetic?
I'm not into that much, but I've been serving God for most of my years, and I've seen God do great things in my life, and I know that God has called me for such a season, to reach out to His people and minister to the people. And mostly through music, and today I'm here to share my story, and I know that many people are gonna hear, and you'll be blessed to know that God is real, and that there is nothing that can stop the plans of God over your life.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. And even as we start on that note, Tony, where were you born? Where were you raised?
Yeah, I'm from Western. That is Mumias,
Mumias.
South Wanga. That is the original, but we migrated from that place and moved to Sia. So currently we are in Sia, and I was raised in Mombasa, Nairobi. We stayed in Nairobi, and my high school I did it in Art High School, Ndiru. That is in Kombewa. Yeah. So we've been moving, yeah.
How was life back then? And how many are you in your family?
We are 5.
You're the firstborn.
I am the firstborn, but we lost one.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So how was life being raised in those sides?
I'm a person that I was raised by a single mom. Yeah, we were raised by a single, and you can imagine the kind of life we went through.
Yes.
But I'm really grateful because God has been there for us. I could see my mom struggle with us, making sure that we get the education that we needed, and it's just that's why mostly in my program I always help mothers. I give much respect to moms, because a mother can never abandon their kids. A man can give birth and abandon the kids.
Yes.
But a woman will never do that. hata kama nateseka. She will always take
So how did you end up being raised by a single mom? Was your dad
they
there? They separated when you were very young.
I was very young.
How old were you?
That one I was in when I just joined high school. Yeah.
When you joined high school. So actually you actually knew everything.
Yeah, I knew everything, and they didn't stay. You know, it was always abusive relationship, and it wasn't that good until my mom decided to come out of that relationship, and she decided to raise us. You know, 5 of us.
So when they separated, how did you feel that moment? Like, because you're used to a complete family.
But the thing is that most parents, like my parents, my mom used to work in Kisumu and my dad used to work in Mombasa. So most of my life we used to stay with mom, sana. Yeah. So I was used to mom. You know, yeah.
Wow, shout out to your mom.
Yes.
And I want us to go back even as you talked about your school life. How was the school life, being raised from primary school to secondary? What are some of the challenges you have been going through? And also, will you say that it was a Christian background, or what? How can you describe your background?
Okay, my background, I was raised in a Christian, setup, and I thank God for that, because my parents, they were Catholic, and I was raised there, and life was not that good. You know, if kuna place what on as a bit a challenge, we went through a hard time. Yeah,
maybe you can just describe some of those challenges.
Yeah, the challenges, my mom was just a clerk, and the kind of salary they get, and here you have 5 kids, you have to raise them. So my mom used to take us to school through loans, and even sometimes eating haikuwa that perfect, natubora tume survive, and that's why most of my life I always give my support to mama, because mama really stood with us, the pain, the challenge, and despite the fact that pia mama alikuwa msek, ile kukua HIV positive, it really, you're coming out, you're coming out from that kind of setup.
Yes.
It was really hard for me, but God saw us through. My mom is still there. Yeah, she's still with us. Very strong. You cannot even believe. Yeah. So
amazing. And so even as you talk about now, those challenges of did you ever encounter the struggles in school fees?
Definitely. That was really something that was really there for us. My mom could not, we sometimes could stay out of school, but I even tried to reach out to uncles, but they were not there for us, but God came through for us, through my mom struggling, and I saw mom struggling. I said, Lord, one day I will make sure that I make my mama proud. Yeah.
Now, considering that your dad was still alive,
yeah, he was there. He
was not providing any support for you guys.
At a pencil.
Hey,
he was an absent dad. So we were raised without my dad. But I tried my best to be close to him anyway, because it's always, sometimes people can do things not because one attacker, but because of maybe they're under influence of something. Yeah. But it wasn't that good. Yeah.
So what really caused your dad to separate from your mom?
I think just relationship issues, and what I can say, they used to fight, and then maybe the influence of alcohol, because both of them were drinking
both
at that time. Yeah. So you can imagine that kind of environment.
So you guys used to see your mom and your dad drink?
Yeah, they fight. When my dad comes home, maybe from visit mom, sometimes they can just go outside laughing, but when they come back, nimbio. So that's the kind of setup,
And how was this now affecting you when you see your dad and your mom and the chaos?
Yeah, it's not a good environment for kids, seeing such kind of things happen, because sometimes you ask yourself, why only us, because you see other families, they're just together, things are just okay, but you look at your family and you ask yourself, God, why are we going through all this?
Yes.
But I believe now, because of everything I've seen God do in my life, I believe God was preparing me. God was just laying a foundation for me, at least to go through that kind of situation, so that I'll be able even to help other people who are going through the same thing. Yeah.
Now, because you have been raised, you mentioned that you came from a Christian background.
Yeah.
Were you always a good boy? Were you always a submissive or a rude boy? Or
I remember I was a bad boy, before I joined high school. But when I joined high school, I gave my life to Christ in Form 2.
So when you mentioned that you were a bad boy, what were you doing?
Just walking and hanging around with boys, trying to, I was just trying to be me, trying to experience life, and I'm just trying to be a bad boy, Even sometimes you could see me putting up some stuff, that to me, sometimes when I look down, I say, that wasn't me,
Did you ever try drugs or something?
No, something that I'm always proud of. I never tried drugs, Yeah, and I thank God for that. Yeah, I didn't try. Though there is this incident that happened when I was in school, and one day I came back home. My mom used to drink easy whiskey, so hizo chupa zitaka pale. So I wanted to have an experience. I said, every time I see my mom, they use this wanakaa wale wako juu sana. So I wanted to experience and ask myself, what nini na watu wanapatanga kwa kitu. So one day nikachukua hizo stuff. I decided to take the bottle na nikakunywa bana. The next thing, my friend, the experience that I had just encouraged me, discouraged me from that thing completely, because I saw the house moving. I was like so I decided to sleep, on the floor straight until I was, after some few hours. And then I asked myself, is this how people feel? Then that's not for me.
So this moment you were still in was it in high school before?
No, it's just I was in high school.
You're in high school?
Yeah, high
okay.
school, yeah. First Form 1 there. But now I ask myself and I say, if this is the kind of experience that people get through drinking, then this is not for me. I'm not going to go that route. And since that day, I just decided not to do such kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yes.
Now talk to us about now. How now did you get to that moment when you were in high school and you decided to give your life to Jesus Christ? How did it happen?
I think it's because of the situation my mom was going through. Imagine you're a kid there and your mom is she's positive. Living with that kind of, it wasn't easy for us. Though she didn't tell us, but I came across her documents and it was like, this is what has been, ailing my mom, So she didn't tell us about her condition.
Why did she decide to keep it a secret from you guys?
I think maybe she didn't want us to, there are parents that will never allow their kids to, maybe you can realize for yourself, maybe, but they're kids that when they know about your situation, they might be distracted. So I think she was just trying to hide that from us.
And so the moment you discovered, how did you feel?
I didn't even ask her. Even today, she just know that I know, but I didn't even ask her, because every year she could get sick. And I could ask myself, man, what's up with mom? I remember one day my uncles, even they came, they were like, my mom will not make it. But you see, God, that is one thing I did. I made a covenant with God. And I said, because it is only we only had our mom by our side. So if you lose such a person at that time, then I was like, how would life be? Because we are not close to our people. We don't have relatives that will be there for us. So I made a covenant with God. And this is what keeps me moving even today. I went beside my mom's deathbed and I said, God, if you make my mama live, I will dedicate my life to you. I will help those kids, those kids who are going through, maybe they've lost their parents. I will try my best, whichever capacity, I will be able to help such kids, And I'm grateful because God heard my prayer. Because if I say my mom, she's still alive, we see. Because many people thought that she will die. Yeah. But she's with us today.
She's still alive.
She's with us.
Wow.
Very healthy. Yeah.
And we really thank God for that. Now, man of God.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us about this encounter that you had with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because, I kept asking myself so many questions, about what was happening in our family. And the only option I wanted to, I just needed a change, at least to dedicate my life to God for the purpose, for my family, especially my mom's condition. And I said, Lord, I just want to serve you, because I don't want to go that route. I don't want to do things that are not worthy to you. I just want to surrender myself and just serve you. And that's how I found myself. That we had a meeting. There was a Christian Union meeting, a rally. And that was this preacher who was preaching, and I just gave my life to Jesus. I remember that day I was putting on, because I said I was a bad boy,
Yes.
I was putting on some type of shirts that were not that good. And I gave my life to Christ when they said, if you want to give your life to Jesus, can you just run and give your life to Jesus? And that's how my life turned around. And up to that day, I've never looked back.
Now, what actually, how did now your life turn around after giving your life to Jesus? Considering now there's some things you have to drop.
Yeah, I did that exactly because I had to do away with friends. Because you see, bad company corrupt good character. So I had to do away with friends and, just to be myself and get new friends that would help me to grow in my Christian walk. Yeah. So I abandoned so many things. Yes.
And now you decided now to go. At this time you got born again. You're still in high school.
I was just in high school.
Form
2.
Form 2.
Yeah. And I started serving God passionately.
That is in the CU.
In the CU. I remember there was this day. That was the time I realized that God was preparing me for ministry work. So I was leading the fellowship in the Christian Union, and it was a Catholic school, definitely. So they did well to hear about this kind of, healing stuff and whatever. So I was in a service doing the worship for my fellow colleagues, and the presence of God came. So I was deeply in the presence of God, and I had someone tapping my back. Young man, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm in my father's business. And that was the deputy principal. He came out and he was like, what are you doing? So from there, I realized that God was preparing me. They wanted to expel me, but
for what?
Because of exactly, it was that was a Catholic school.
Yeah, and the Holy Spirit now fell upon you.
Yeah, and there was deliverance taking place.
Yes. Yes.
And even me, I was surprised. I started saying this. I said, God, what do you want from me?
Yes.
I'm not ready to do this. But because of that, I decided to go deeper with Him, and I've seen so many things, happen in my life, our family. I've seen God raise my brother back to life. I've seen so many things. God is real, man. God is real.
Yeah,
God is real, and He picks people from nothing. It doesn't matter about your background. God is not interested about my background. He's just interested of obedience. If you obey Him, He will always prepare you, mold you, and make you the kind of vessel that He wants you to be. Yes.
Now, after you completed your high school,
yes,
what did you decide to pursue?
I tried to pursue my career because I did. I ran my businesses. I ran chemist. I have 3 of them right now. That's why I'm a business person. And you see, and I want to come to what happened. There is this incident that I told you, I share with you, that really changed my life completely. Because there was this day I was going back home at night. Unarudi tu home, unataka kurudi upumzike. And I encountered something that I will never forget in my life. I got attacked, thugs, and they were carrying sharp objects. So they started attacking me, and I was like, and it was raining. And that day, normally, I used to stay with my brother by that time. So I don't know always carry keys. But that day, I think God was speaking to me, was preparing me that something was going to happen, because I was even asking myself, how did I carry the key? Something that I don't do. When I go back home, I'll just call and then someone comes to open for me. But that day, a voice just spoke to me, you have to carry that key with you. So I went to work, and it was around 11.
So which place is this? This is in
Kabiria. Yeah, Kabiria. So it was around 11 p.m. It was raining. I'm telling you guys, kama kuna mtu unaweza ona kifo, I'm telling you, my friend, hapo siku niliona God. There is God, because I knew that I was going. I knew that was the last, my last time to be on this earth, because the attack was that serious. I got deep cuts. I had some openings, the blood was oozing.
So these were thugs?
thugs.
How many were they?
There were so many. So I was trying to defend myself, because these guys had sharp object, and they were like, I didn't have anything to defend myself, so I was just using blows to protect.
I've been in Kabiria,
yes.
and I can tell that place. Maybe you can be specific in Kabiria. Is it Kabiria, Kabi Center?
You see around Kabi Center there was a pub, a well-known pub, but there was a guy known, he was known as, I don't know his name, he was from Meru, Vaite. So Vaite place.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that place used to breed young men who are really, you look at them, you just fear, because you look at them, it's like they take bang, they do what, and then they wait for people at night. So I think they were really targeting me, and that night they attacked me. I was, me, hey, God is real, man.
What time was it?
11 p.m.
11.
Yeah.
So I think you're just going home, and
I was
you're just closing shop.
Relax, yeah. You're not going home to relax, and that's what happened. And I'm telling you guys, that is what opened my eyes. Because
so these guys, they jumped on you.
Yeah, there were many
with
sharp,
knives.
Yeah, sharp objects. I'm telling you, because I had some. Even now, if you look at me vizuri, utapata kuna marks.
Yeah.
Zilikuwa kubwa mpaka the person, because I remember that day it rained, and after many attacks they thought nimekufa, but Mungu alikuwa na mimi, nikapata strength, and I was just crawling. You are crawling ili uweze kufika kwa gate, and immediately nikafika gate, I opened that door, and then hapo nika faint. So the first person who came to meet me, a neighbor, alipiga kelele, because he looked at me, the blood was oozing, my clothes likuwa tu ni blood tu, na nimesha anguka, niko na deep cuts. She was a woman, she cried, and she ran away. So people came, they picked me up, and they took me to the hospital. So I stayed in the hospital for 3 months. It was that
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. It was that serious, man. And when I was still in that condition, I made a promise with God. I said, God, if you're giving me another chance to live, then I want to do something that at least I want to leave a legacy. Imagine ningeenda hilo time, hakuna kitu nilikuwa nimeshafanya. At least my programs that I'm running today, it happened as a result of that, because I asked myself, if you die today, a legacy. Let the generation to come to remember you. Usikufe tu ende na hizo gift ndani. Because God has a purpose for each and every one of us. God has great plans for us. Na lazima kufe. I always tell people, you have to die empty. Everything, the potential that is ndani yako, unafuza achilie kama ziko sawa, so that when you're living ukiwa for free. But so many people wanaenda kwa grave na potential ndani zao. Yeah. So that incident really changed my life, and that's where Light of the World ikakuwa birth. The CBO that I'm running there. So
at the hospital bed.
Yeah, because I was now asking myself at the hospital bed, Lord, is it me that you saved me, Lord? Because I don't deserve to be alive.
Yeah.
I don't deserve to be alive. But I realized that He had a great plans with me, and I said, Lord, you're giving me another chance, to live. Then I want to make sure that I impact lives. I will do my best. I don't have much, but the little that I have so far, if you come to Kabiria, people talk about me because of the kind of things that we are doing. Yes.
So you still have some programs in Kabiria?
Yeah, the programs that are running. I have a school that is running, and it has given many kids ambao wana chance ya kusoma. They study for free. Na kuna pia watu wale wanalipa kwa ile shule. And also we have a feeding program. Yeah, we do every 2 weeks. We feed the community. We give mothers unga, And you don't need to be a politician to be doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. Wewe tu kama wewe. When you eat something in your house, remember kuna mwingine that hajakula hata chochote. And especially at this particular moment, so many people are suffering. People are going through hardship. Because I get so many requests that, oh, man of God, can you help me? And sometimes you get overwhelmed because of the limited resources, But I just want to encourage you who's listening to me. God called you with a purpose. And the purpose, you have to accomplish that mission, And the most important thing that will make God happy Are you in a position to help your neighbor? Your neighbor doesn't have something to eat. Do you share the little that you have? Because when we share, you will always impact the lives of such people. So God is great. God is real, man. God is real.
Wow, God is real.
Yeah.
And indeed, I think at that moment, that is when God birthed now your ministry.
My ministry.
And we just want to know how did you start? Because coming from that place, and rising back to your feet and then saying that, God, this is what I'm going to do. How did you start?
Yeah, because I was really challenged when after healing, I said I want to do something, and I remembered God reminded me about the covenant I made with Him. Because I remember when my mom was dying, I went beside her deathbed, and I promised God one thing, that if you let my mama live, then I will help those kids that maybe they lost their parents because of HIV or such kind of whatever, but it's kind of I was not living towards that. So after that incident, I said, okay, that is what I have to do. I have to get back to the promise. I have to get back to the covenant, make with God. God, help me. Yes, I don't have much, but the little that you have blessed me with, Lord, I will do whatever I can at my capacity. And today, I tell you, we started feeding that community. I'm telling you, sometimes we get overwhelmed, because sometimes I get 30 bundles of ungas to give out, but unapata hiyo ni kidogo bado, because I've even walked to politicians' doors. Nataka tu unga tu. I don't even need money. Unga, ukiletea bundles kama moja, bundle moja, if I can give out 30 bundles, ile tu for the love for the people. Nilikuwa na ile mind nasema, nikitembea kwa watu mpaka siku hizi nimechoka kusema hiyo, naambianga to God, ile umeleta, let's help these people. And I've seen God do big things, because there are people that they don't deserve to be in the situation wako. It's not because wanapenda, but because maybe wanapita through challenges. But you see, God will always lift someone to lift others. That is the mission we have. God will lift you to lift others. God will bless you to be a blessing to others. And if you do that, you live a successful life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That is so powerful. God will lift you to lift others. Now, you mentioned about now your initiative that you're doing.
Yes.
But alongside that, you're also a gospel artist.
Yeah, I'm a gospel artist.
And I'd love to hear, how did this start? How did you discover even you have that gift?
Okay, I discovered that I have a gift for singing in when I was still young, because I could sometimes, organize some kids and we make some fake band. I call it fake band. And then I remember also I used to love Lingala. Yeah, I could dance to the tunes of Lingala.
You love Lingala?
Yeah, before. Yeah, when I was growing, I used to love Lingala. Yeah. So from there, when I joined high school, I started, I joined the choir, and I was also part of a group of music that we used to do for anti-AIDS club, the Kites Club. So we could rap sometimes. So after there, after finishing, I joined praise and worship team. So that is where I build my music, from praise and worship team to start doing my recording. Yes.
And so how now those, because we need to understand this, because since the moment you discovered you had that gift, it took long for you to record your first song.
It took long.
People usually think that, when I have now this gift, I'll just go in studio, Nintendo too. But there's a process that God has to take you through before your gift is being birthed.
You have to grow, because for you to do good music, it's not about just recording, but it's about growing. So you have to learn, and also you have to make sure you give out good music.
Yes.
So it takes a process. It's not just something you wake up today and start doing. You have to grow. At least you give time for growth. Yes. Yes. And exactly that's what I did, because I started the serious music. I started when I was out of school, and I think from there I started just doing recording. But at first I did my recording on at least small studios. Yeah.
Now, where did you get money to do your first?
Yeah, that's where the challenge is, because recording is expensive. Even right now, especially where I'm doing my recording, you have to, one track I'm doing with 15,000. just one track. But you also have production that you can do. They even take 3,000, but the quality
is very low.
It's very low. Yeah. So you have to go. If you want the best, you go for the best. Yeah. So don't fear to spend to make something good. Yeah, because that is the most important thing. Because if you want to do good, if you want at least to do perfect job in music, make sure you upgrade, your game. Yeah.
And we'd love to know the first song that you did. How was the reception? Because you mentioned that it was all a good quality.
Yeah, it wasn't that good because, and this is how I realized. I went for a concert somewhere, and artists were being called to perform. So when my time came, I was like, I need to do something, because the music, you look at the clarity, you look at the sound, you look at the, mine was low, and I was like, I need to do something. I need to change some of the things if I want to be the best, if I want to give the best out of me. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and I started looking for the best producer. Like the song I did, Akuna, I did it with Teddy B. Yeah.
Wow, Teddy B is a great producer.
He's a great producer. So I started, and that's how I challenged myself, and I said, now I will be working with such kind of producers. Yeah, I'm not going to go for the cheaper one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I usually tell guys, at times invest in quality.
Invest in quality.
That is very you cannot give God, if you're give God the best.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is amazing. It's a man of God.
Yes.
Now, we promised that we're going to mention this incident because you have been working in and you've seen the hand of God upon your life.
Yes.
So what really happened with your brother?
My brother, he was sick. By the time, during those days, I used to go for fasting, and then I was going for a 14 days fast, So that day I left him. He was not feeling well, my brother. He was sick. But when I went there, I took 3 days. After the third day, God just directed me to stop the fast, to go back home. So I was like, why am I going back home? I just felt that strong urge to go back home, because he knew something was not okay there. So I went back. When I was going back home, I was approaching the homestead. I saw people gathering outside.
This is where?
Kombewa.
This is Kombewa in?
We used to say it is in Kisumu.
Kisumu, okay.
Yeah, we used to stay with my mom. She used to work there. So I saw people, many people. And they was wailing, crying. And I was like, what has happened? But this is one lesson I learned from that. People will always come to mourn with you. They will always like, oh, it has happened. They would come there. But God did something that even me, I was shocked. I didn't believe that it will happen.
Yes.
Because I remember as I was approaching the homestead, I had to, I got into the house and ordered everybody out. Because you see, God can never operate where there is spirit of doubt.
Yes.
Yeah, so when people don't trust God, He can never move there. So you have to do away with the spirit of doubt. So what I did, I ordered, plus my mom. I told mom, everybody out, those who are crying, to get outside. And I remained with the body. So I was also trying, I was just testing God. Because I wasn't that sure that He will do it, because that was the first thing that I was encountering in my life. So I remember I knelt down, lifted my hands, and I started praying. I prayed for 11 minutes. Nothing was coming. The body, lifeless body, was just lying there.
How did you gather courage to pray when your brother is dead?
Okay, because you see, I knew that it was assurance from Him. Because for God to tell me to go back home, I knew there was something amiss, and there was something that I had to do. Yeah, I had to do. So I went back home. I knew that if He is the same God that told me to do so, to cut off my fast, so I decided to obey. And I'm telling you, guys were like, they wanted to see. And to me, I was also like, will it happen? But deep within my heart, I knew that God would do something. I just saw Him. I was like, He's not dead. I gathered that courage because I had that so much faith in Him. Because I could spend my time praying, seeking Him, and I always believed that if He did that, the miracles He did, He's still the same God. He's the same God that was yesterday, today, and forever.
Yeah,
He does not change. So I prayed for 10 minutes. The 11th minute came. God came through, because I heard a voice, and He told me, son, I want you to do this. Do what I tell you. So He told me, take your hands and put it on his mouth and speak a word, So I just spoke a word. I said, receive the breath of God. And immediately he coughed.
Wow.
So everybody, God turned that scenario into, praising Him. People forgot about there was death there, and they started praising God. Now listen, people will always celebrate you, or they will only come to celebrate and maybe to mourn with you, but they will never give you a solution to come out of a problem. The only person who can give you that solution is God Himself. So when you walk with Him and if you obey Him, because it's all about obedience, obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes.
When you obey the voice of God, God will move. So when my brother, and when he woke up, after sometimes he asked for food, and that is exactly what happened even in the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah, he asked for something to eat, and from that day, that was the beginning of God's presence in my life. I've been trying to avoid that. I don't want to get into that serious ministration, because sometimes you feel like, okay, God, I want to move this direction. I want to do this, and that's why now I'm focused with the music part of it. But if there is a person who have encountered the greatness of God, I've seen God do great things. God is real. It doesn't matter how long it might take. It might take decades. You might be in that situation for years, but one day it's gonna be all right. And it has reminded me, there is a song that we just did. It's not yet out, It said, one day it's gonna be all right. One day, because you're a champion, never give up. You will overcome that. You might be suffering today, but it will not be forever. Things will change. God can turn around your destiny. He's a God of greatness. Because whatever you're facing right now is just a process. You have to allow Him to mold you. You have to allow Him to take you through everything, to mold everything and make you become the kind of a vessel that He wants you to be. So never give up. He is real. When you obey, He will answer you. The same way God has walked with me. If you look at me today, sometimes it's not about my education or whatever, but it's by the grace of God. Because I'm that kind of a person who was not even recognized by relative.
Yeah.
I even went to work with them, to stay with them. The only thing they could do is to do some odd jobs for them,
What kind of odd jobs are you doing?
It's just like, do farm work. Farm work.
So these are your uncles or your just people,
Uncles, man. I'm telling you, we are living in a world.
Why?
but I always thank God, because everything that God took me through.
Yes.
I'm where I am today because of that. Yeah. The challenges will always make you. So embrace every challenge that you go through. Don't complain. Whenever you go through that lack, don't complain. Praise Him, because your tomorrow is going to be great. During those days, I could not even afford to drive, but today I'm driving. Not because I have money, no, but by the grace of God. So God can change. He can make you become that vessel that can be a blessing to so many people. So your tomorrow is great. It's going to be all right. The challenges, the pain, discouragement, that you might be facing today. I lost my brother because of, I think he was going through depression.
Your brother?
Yeah, my brother. And all these things.
You lost him, like he passed away?
He passed away,
The same brother or?
No.
Different brother.
A different brother. Yeah, so all these things mold me.
And when did this happen?
It's now 3 years since we lost him. But hizi vitu zimenifanya nimekuwa ngumu. Sahi hakuna kitu inaweza nistua. Because I know if I have God, I will go for what I want to do. You see, because God has called us to do big things, to do exploits. But how are you going to do that if you don't even know yourself? You don't even discover that you are special. You are a chosen generation. You are a special person. It's not about your background. There are people that just look down upon themselves because of their background. God can pick that broken background to make something valuable out of it. So you just need to obey. just obey.
Just obey.
Yes.
And indeed, out of obedience, and you are doing now great things, especially in the society.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear about that.
Yeah.
What are you currently doing?
Right now, we have started a program in Wamta. I just single out business people, those who are doing small business. You know, you look at it, it cannot even sustain them.
Yes.
You know, the last episode I did, there was this woman that I kept seeing her, you know, trying to sell some stuffs. Na ukiangalia hizo stuff ni kidogo sana, hata kiuza mpaka jioni hizo zizi msaidia. So one day we just decided from nowhere, na nikatawa tu I just use 3,000. You know, at 3,000 ni kitu kidogo sana, but I was able to get stuffs, you know, vitu kama Pampers, nini, variety, because when you have variety you will always make good money.
Yes.
And through that, at least, you know, you feel the joy when doing such a thing. Now, this is the thing. Imagine God has given you the opportunity kukua place huko, lakini you don't use it. You know, whatever the position you have, unaitumia tu kwa sababu ya selfishness. You know, so many people tuko selfish. We just think about ourselves. We just think about me to familia yangu. But there is a neighbor there, and there is this incident that really during those days I used to do evangelism, and there is this family that, imagine, they are related. The other home wako na pesa, maboma imetengenezwa, and then this side unapata this guy was alikuwa disabled, lakini ana watoto wengi hivi tu wamepangana hivi. And then unapata huyu mtu mpaka the house itself, the condition ya nyumba ilikuwa inaanguka, haina hata mpaka wall, na ni ile ya matope. So I asked myself, surely utaweza kuwa na kifahari kando, nyumba imetengenezwa zinakaa classic, and then this other person ako tu hivyo. And that is the world that we're living. People don't care about others, but they only care when you die. Hapo utapata rambe you know.
Yeah. And they will even come and contribute to your funeral.
Imagine, man, unapata when you're struggling, no one will come through, but wacha upate uonekane, uzuri yako itaonekana, utakwenda sema he was a good man, he was so and so, alifanya hii na hiyo, unaona.
Yes.
But manze, don't wait until someone dies ndio uweze kufanya hiyo. Hapana, msaidia akiwa hai. When you do that, God will bless you, God will expand you, God will do great things for you, my brothers. So let's be in this journey. We are in a journey, and I always tell people, in the next 100 years hatutakuwa hapa.
Yeah.
You know, and that is something that people forget. We are not here permanent.
Yes.
Tuko safarini, na katika safari, what matters is what you're doing right now. Okay, do your best. Make sure that you live well with people.
Yeah.
You do your best, and God will always bless you. We are on a journey.
Wow. We are on a journey, and I love that part that you're saying that you know what, we are not going to be in the next even 100 years.
Yeah, that is the fact.
And that is the truth. And sometimes people don't like to talk about it, but that is the truth. And that's why I remember last week I was telling guys that we should take advantage of the time we have. The scripture says, teach us to number our days.
Yes.
And whatever your hands finds to do, do it with all your might.
Yeah.
Because you're going there.
Yeah.
All of us, we have one day. Tutakufa sisi wote, tutaenda. But what matters most is, are you taking advantage to use what God has bestowed upon your hands?
Yeah.
Yesterday I was telling guys that you know what has God given you? Sometimes you ask God, hey, mimi sina hii, uko na nini? Because Moses was asked, what do you have in your hands that I may use it?
Yes.
And for you, God saw that you have the love for the community.
Yes.
And God used that to birth the ministry.
Yes.
And so it's very important for us to come to that place of self-discovery, that asking God, I don't have this.
Yeah.
What do you have then?
Yeah.
There is a gift that you have. There is maybe you're compassionate with the people. You're compassionate when you see people are going hungry.
Yes.
That is the area of your calling.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people think calling is something pulpit sijui lazima nikwe kama Tony Gates nipande pale. No. Sometimes it's just an area that you feel like, I think I can do something about it. I feel there is a need here.
Yes.
And that is actually what we are calling you to do. And even as Pal Radio, we are doing this thing because we are saying that God has given us this ability just to do the work of God. And like you mentioned, doing ministry is very expensive.
Yeah.
And even as you mentioned that, sometimes you run short of the bundles of unga.
Yeah.
And now this tells you the importance of the community coming together. Yeah.
That's true. And also that's why I want to encourage you who's listening, because as I was listening to my brother, they were appealing like you can send whatever kidogo iko to support this program, because you see, do you know how many people are being reached right now? There's so many people. There is someone somewhere when he's just about to give and commit suicide, but kwa sababu amefungua radio akasikia testimony fulani, huyu jamaa anakuja nasema maze kumbe bado naweza kuwa na chance ya kufanya nini. So the way airwaves inaweza fika place yote inaweza saidia msee. So I want to appeal to you. You see, let's support. What people don't like when you talk about money, they want God to touch their heart.
Yes.
God touch here, but don't touch my pocket.
Yes.
God. Yeah, when you talk about money, hapo unaanza kuona mtu anaanza kujikunja. But listen, if you want to be blessed, ile kidogo, you don't need to give million. Ile kidogo tukileta pamoja italeta impact kwa community. Because me, I've been living that kind of life, helping. And right now I have a series of concerts next year for 6 months in the States. Kama ingekuwa hivyo, haingewezekana. So live a life of giving. Kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba.
Amen.
Tutaweza kufanya big things through. Like me mtu, the same example nasema sai, kuna mtu anatusikiza na labda alikuwa anataka kukata maisha. Amefika mahali ameona manze, hakuna kitu ina happen. Things ziko tough kama mawe tu. Yani anajaribu kumuvuko. Alafu anafungua ka radio, kitu namwambia fungua radio fulani. Akikuta tu anasikia testimony anasema, kumbe hata yangu ni kidogo. Do you know that person ata change na ache hiyo chenye alikuwa anataka kufanya, na anze kuona life yake is very important, na kutoka hapo utakuwa tumezalisha mtu ambao atakuwa na impact community. Let's support one another. Let's love one another.
Wow. Let's support one another.
Yes.
And love one another. That was a very powerful testimony.
Yes.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for allowing God to use you in a powerful way just to minister to our audience.
Amen.
And so even as you get ready to conclude, how can guys get in touch with you? Are you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on social media. Through Facebook, you can find me. Tony Gist. Tony with 2 N. Yani 2 NY. Tony Gist Music. And then on YouTube, you can also subscribe to my channel. That is Tony Gist. You just write Tony with 2 N and then you put a space. Alafu naika Gist Kenya. Subscribe manze. When you subscribe, you support us. Nataka tuna appreciate tu sana. You can look for me on TikTok, Tony Gist there.
Yeah.
Hizi ma channels zote utanipata. Na papo pia tutaweza kuwasiliana. Na may God bless you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate it.
And that has been Tony Gist for you right here on the Reset Testimony Thursday. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and thank you so much for listening to the testimony tonight. It's time for me to say kwaheri.
96.9 FM Pearl Radio.